This has got the Fix-It guy dealing with a Frigidaire dishwasher that has the U0 error, which is actually supposed to be V as in Victor, O, which means vent open. And this is a common problem with this machine. It's kind of a pain in the neck, but these are some ways you may be able to resolve it. It's a vent that lives in the back right-hand corner. Can sometimes get stuck. It can't close all the way, and it's the machine saying it's vent open, so we're removing this little plastic screw from the inside, and then we're going to be removing the dishwasher to take it out of the cabinet. So we have it unplugged, taking out 2 Phillips head screws here in the front, and then we should be able to pull out the dishwasher. You may have to disconnect the fill line and the drain tube. On this dishwasher, the fill line and drain tube are long enough that allows me to pull the dishwasher out enough to get to the vent assembly. Vent assemblies are kind of expensive. The lowest I could find was $82, and they can be sold as high as like $150. $82 is not too bad, but it's better if you can repair it rather than replace it. Sometimes replacement's the only alternative. So we've already got the ring off. Here's the vent assembly. We can just lift it out of the machine. It's connected by some power wires still. This plastic part is the vent that moves up and down to let air flow in and out of the dishwasher. There's a little fan that helps too. Sometimes this thing gets stuck. This black plastic piece gets stuck. We're going to be removing 2 Phillips head screws here. We have it unplugged already. And then once the screws are out, we're going to set it with the black side facing down. And then we're going to lift off the plastic cover so we can get to some of the components. So set it down. We're going to hinge off this cover. And we'll see this black fan right here, a little electric fan. Pull that out of the way. And then we have a motor that moves a lever, and that lever allows the vent to move up and down. So this is the little fan. Here's the vent underneath the fan. And there's also a little circuit board, and the circuit board has a light sensor that sends LED light outward, and there's a collector on the other side of it. It's only a tiny little gap, probably a 1/16 of an inch, in between the emitter and the collector. And there's a part of the vent, the black piece, that slides up and down in between where the light shoots out. And when the vent is closed, part of the plastic vent covers that light, and that tells the computer that the vent is closed. This little spring, if you pull it, you can stretch it out a little bit. It creates more spring resistance, and that can help so the vent can close better. If it closes further, it prevents the light from bouncing from the emitter to the collector, and that tells the machine that the vent is closed and it can progress. But if it thinks the vent is open, it'll cancel and will not progress after about maybe 5 seconds. So I'm putting the spring back in after I stretched it. And that's one thing that may do the trick, that may help this situation. Also, just cleaning that black round piece and the black rubber gasket around it can help. Sometimes you get some soap scum and gunk up in there that's blocking it from closing. So if you look at the black plastic piece, you'll see that there's protrusion that goes up into that tiny circuit board, and it blocks the light. So I'm going to use my finger to kind of pull that circuit board out so I can clean it. And I want to make sure that that emitter doesn't have a bunch of junk in the way. So I'm going to use some electrical cleaner. You could use a lot of different things to clean it. Alcohol would be fine, like on a Q-tip. And this stuff works really good. You can get it at Home Depot. I'm going to spray some in there right where the emitter is and the collector. Try to get that super clean, and I'll use a little paper towel to get in there too to clean it. I'm also using this to clean in where the plastic valve is too. Do a little more cleaning in there. We're just trying different things. Every time I try one of these procedures, I put it back together and I'll plug it in, I'll try to start it, and I keep getting the same error over and over. It's a little frustrating, but it's worth trying these different things. You can save about $100. Just attempting to clean everything up. What finally occurred to me with this one is that circuit board that sends the light and collects the light is just worn out. So there's a couple of little resistors that are probably given up. And it's only a 79-cent part. You can buy it and you can solder it in. If you're not good at soldering though, you can just buy the whole new assembly. Again, I found it as low as 82 bucks. So you can also use your electrical cleaner to clean the power wire that comes in the contacts. Because sometimes there's corrosion there. So I'm going to put that back on and test it out. The metal contacts that are on the electrical connector, the modular connector, you can also slightly bend them so that they push in harder to make a better electrical connector. I did that with a really sharp little tool. I just reached in and gently bent those connectors to make it a tighter fit. So again, each time I try something, I'll plug it in, I'll make sure the door's shut, I'll pick a cycle, and I'll start it, and same thing happens. It takes about 5 seconds, and I'll get that same error. So what this proved to me is that everything is working except that little circuit board is no longer functioning. So it keeps giving the computer a bad message that the vent is open even though it's not open. So you can replace that little tiny circuit board for 79 cents or just buy the whole new assembly. But many people have had luck with just cleaning the gasket or cleaning the little circuit board with electrical cleaner or cleaning the contacts. So worth trying all that. Not that hard to do. Probably take you 20 minutes. Probably 20% of the time though, it's just that circuit board is tired, no longer doing its job, and either replace it or replace the whole assembly. So this is again how you take it apart. Take the screws out, lift the top off. I'm also checking these wires that bring power up there to make sure that there's not a point where the insulation is worn off. Get the top off. That's the fan comes off. What I did here is interesting is I use something else besides the black piece to block the light, and then I tried it again. I had something definitely in there blocking the light and it still malfunctioned, so I know for sure that it's not due to the piece not being in position, but it's due to that circuit board just being defective. A lot of people are saying that about 4 or 5 years into the life of the machine, that circuit board goes south. And then one of the YouTubers did mention that he replaced it for about 72 or 79 cents. So that's a good way to do it if you know how to do soldering. Pretty easy. You can see the fan operating. But once again, after about 5 tries, it just gives you the error. So I was able to isolate for sure and understand that it's just that goofy little circuit board. So putting the fan back into position, and then we can put the cover back on. So even though that says V or U0 error or UO error, it's actually supposed to mean VO. It just can't, the digital display can't make a V, but that's for vent open. So putting the cover back on. Make sure you push the cover on really tight, and then you put the 2 Phillips head screws back on. And to install this back into the machine is really easy. You just push it back in the hole, and you reach in and put the gray plastic ring back on and turn it just a few degrees clockwise. It'll lock it in. Yeah, I just don't like giving up, so I kept trying different things, but became clear that that circuit board was just defective. This is the symptom of when it isn't working. You'll see the fan oscillate about 5 times, and then you get the error. So this is that idea of bending the wire just slightly, the contact just slightly in to make better contact. But I got the same result. Sometimes that'll work though, just bending in the metal terminals so they make better contact. Just do it just a tiny bit. You want to move them in by 32nd of an inch or less, just tiny bit. Move them too far, then it won't even, can't even get the connector back on.
Let me just try one more time.
Yeah, we'll get the same result. But if your circuit board was working, these other
same thing.
avenues would have done the job, would have cured the problem. So just time for a new circuit board. So thanks so much for watching the video. Hope yours gets working for you. And please subscribe when you get a chance. Thanks again.